Hello everyone, it's Kayla Howard and I am here to give you an honest and open view of myself, get personal with you, and share real life stories in hopes to guide you to becoming your best self. My goal here is to project light and positivity into our day-to-day struggles and to tell you to stop yelling at yourself for situations that are out of our control. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Stop Yelling podcast. If you're new here, my name is Kayla Howard. I am your host. How's it going? I completely am exhausted. I sound exhausted, so I'm sorry. I'm currently laying in bed, staring at my computer screen, exhausted. I just got off of a flight. Literally just got home from Nashville about an hour ago, but I have a lot of juicy stuff today, so bear with me. Do not click out yet. I promise you that I have so many good points to talk about today, and I know that this episode is going to relate to a lot of people. People are going to get a lot of insight out of this, and just good good conversation that's going to happen today. So I'm laying in bed, I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to do this. As exhausted as I'm super excited for this. I'm trying to gather myself right now because I'm like panicking right now. I'm not even kidding you. You're probably wondering why I'm sitting on the microphone crying and just get off. And I'm sure this is really hard to listen to. I just want to begin by saying that I started this podcast. I'm crying for a lot of positive things right now, okay? But it's also just I'll get there in a second, okay? Bear with me. I started this podcast to share the negative and both negative and positive things that I've gone through in my life. I consider my life to have gone a certain way. Of course, for everybody's life has gone a certain way, and of course, we all look at our lives as significant and that it can touch people in a certain way because it's your life and it's significant to you, so it's different for somebody else, for the next person. And that is kind of the premise of using this podcast. As much as my episodes are goofy and sarcastic, and people had warned me about sounding a certain way on here because people don't know my personality, people don't know my inside joke, even though I sometimes try to explain them here or there. Not many of you can understand that or can relate to it as much, or maybe you might take it the wrong way or something. And so ultimately, a big topic of conversation lately has been my previous relationship, because I am utilizing my previous relationship as a learning lesson for some of you to take, because it was my most beautiful relationship in so many ways, as far as just the relationship itself and the growth that came out of it for the both of us. And the relationship didn't go as well as we wanted it to. We were super, super attached and controlled, with trying to control each other just so much. And it went downhill for us. I had so much that I had to work on, and he had so much that he had to work on. But ultimately, I cannot change how I feel, how I felt, how I view him, how I view the situation, how I am allowing it to be. Everything happens for a reason. I'm trying to live by that. I preach that to so many people, but this isn't about defending my word or whatever, because how I feel is how I feel, and I'm allowed to have my opinion, and that's not going to change. But to give just a slight little background, because I'm sure if you're a new listener here, opening this podcast to me crying is not how I want you guys to have an opening view on this podcast, or just bad first impression. But to give you a little update, a little tea, a little whatever is going to make your morning happy and more fulfilled based off of my life. My ex-boyfriend, we broke up in March and we dated for 2 years. It was a very toxic relationship, but also a very beautiful relationship. And I don't mean to lead with the toxic part, but it was a very emotionally damaging relationship to myself. I mean, both of us too. I wasn't the most perfect girlfriend, and I don't want my episodes to portray him in such a negative way, because it's really not. But at the same time, I cannot change how I feel based off of how he communicated with me, based on how easy it was for him to put me in the dark on a lot of things, and him admitting that he was with somebody else during the relationship and whatever else. But we broke up in March, and the whole rest of the summer, we were, of course, still in love. Of course, we were trying to make it work and whatever. And I got so fed up with it. Nothing was changing. I was so in this mindset. I had this whole like identity crisis. And I was just like, I need to be doing something different. My life is not going to go where I want it to go until I cut this toxicity off. And that is 100% a lesson to take with you from this. I am not going to fault myself or blame myself or feel guilty for wanting to move on with my life for the benefit of myself. Okay, this has been a reoccurring pattern, general idea and topic I've been speaking about so much, but I had an experience over the weekend. I went to Nashville, and all of that will be explained. I promise I'm not telling you guys my whole entire weekend story. It's not about that. It's about a specific conversation with who I was with. And I'm being fully honest right now. I'm being fully honest. I don't even care. I don't care what's going to come out of this. It is what it is. Okay, here I go. I'm just going to fully put it fucking out there. And if you don't care to hear this, then you can fast forward. Just hear the little ever-flowing bell, and that'll start your podcast for you. But I went to Nashville over the weekend, and I'll explain this again in a little while too. But I went to Nashville with a guy. This is the first person that I've been with since being with him, minus whatever over the summer and fun, blah, blah, blah. But it really wasn't like that, at all. So this is really like the first person that I've seen. Being that I went through such a crazy past relationship, like whenever you go and date somebody for the first time after a long relationship or some relationship that you had so much emotional tie to, or that you fought so much for, or really the soul sucking relationship that you're in, okay, that you dedicate so much time to, that doesn't just go away. It doesn't. And that love that you have, no matter how much you disappointed that person, they disappointed you, there's still that feeling of the what if. And I'm not sitting here and saying this like, oh, what if, and maybe we can be together and this is a sign that we're going to be together. No, this was completely and 100% a test from God, from the universe, because as I continue on this episode, you'll see how the entire story pans out into why I'm sitting here crying so hard, because I received an email from him this morning, basically just the nicest, it's frustrating because the minute I get to a point where I think I'm okay and I think I'm happy and I think things are coming to light for me, and, it's like, boom, well, psych, let's see if you're really this strong. Let's see if you're really strong enough to pass this and not answer or fall for this. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this. The minute you feel secure in your own place and you're happy with yourself and you left the relationship and things are going great, and they come back and you're so confused. And he even had, you know what, I'm gonna read it for you guys if that's okay. And I'm sorry, because he did mention in here that it saddens me to hear that I talk negatively about him on my podcast. But he said, while it hurts my heart to know this, I understand that everyone copes with the end of a relationship differently. If expressing your thoughts publicly is what you feel is necessary for your healing process, I respect your decision, even if it brings me pain. This whole episode has to kind of go around speaking about
previous things that you've gone through with the person that, you know, you're with now, and so much more insight other than that. But, you know, I would be lying if I didn't think about if he was okay or not, because I had lost an ex of mine already. And when you lose somebody and go through that grief, and I want to make a whole dedicated episode about that as well, because that is a whole thing that a lot of people do go through, and I would love to relate to you on that and connect with you, because it's not easy. But losing an ex-boyfriend already and thinking it's your fault, and thinking, you know, and just like really thinking so poorly about the situation, it scars you. It scars you for the rest of the relationships you're going to have, like, especially if they're that toxic as well. Like, it got to the point where I was actually like worried about his life. I know that sounds dramatic, and I know I'm sure he might listen to this, or one of you people that know him are going to tell him, oh my God, she's like thinking that you're going to off yourself, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sometimes that shit's serious. Every time it's serious. Every time you should take it seriously. That is not something to fuck with. So, as dramatic as I sound, I've gone through that shit. And when I see a certain pattern or a certain little like tick or whatever it is, I'm going to take it seriously, and I'm not going to let it slide. I am ultimately, of course, am going to feel like I need to still protect, and I don't want anything bad to happen to him under my terms. Just the emotion, because of the emotion that I gave to him, or whatever the case is. And receiving this email today, and after not speaking after 2 months, I'm going to kind of break up this message. I'm going to read it to you, and then we'll get into this episode, because this is a really long episode. It says, "Final letter, please read," in the subject line. It says, "I hope this email finds you well. It's been quite some time since we last spoke, and I wanted to take a moment to reach out and reflect on our journey together. First and foremost, I want to express my gratitude for the time that we spent together. Our relationship was filled with lots of laughter, love, and growth. Looking back, I realize how much I learned from you, and I'm genuinely thankful for the memories we created. There are so many things we could go back and forth on, but honestly, I'm so over all of that. I want to be honest with you and admit I did sleep with so-and-so. It was a one-night stand and nothing more. I understand if this revelation brings up mixed emotions, and I apologize for any pain it may cause. My intention is not to hurt you further, but to be transparent and honest about my actions. What truly matters to me is the love that we shared and the impact you had on my life. Continuing to apologize that he regrets his actions and that he hopes that I can forgive him. He just wants us to have happiness and peace in our lives." A completely positive thing. And of course, I'm sitting here like all of these emotions and thoughts are being brought into my head, and I don't know why I'm more relaxed now that I'm talking it out with you guys. But I really woke up, read this message, opened my computer, and grabbed my microphone. I'm not going to get too much deeper because I kind of explain all of this as the episode goes on. And if you're not into the whole relationship talk, this is a really good episode to listen to. I feel like a lot of people need to hear this and can relate to it. And I'm sorry that I have a stuffy nose. I could just feel it. Ugh. If some of this sounds a little repetitive from what I just jumped on and talked about right now, just bear with it. This was recorded last night, and I'm excited for you guys to hear this. And yeah, I'll just leave that there, I guess. All right, well, let's get into the conversation, you guys.
Be fucking real, man. Come on.
If you've listened to my previous podcast episodes, if you're new here, I would suggest to start from episode 1. If you're not new here and you're caught up, or if you're not caught up, I would catch up maybe after this episode, or if you want to click out now or whatever. But you can see the pattern of the growth, how the connection with myself has been growing, and how it's been showing through other things in life, like being handed to me, and these blessings handed to me, and these signs, these good signs, and whatever, like basically proving to me that I am exactly where I need to be. But before I get into all of that, if you're choosing to click out and go catch up before this rest of this episode, do it now. So I just got back from Nashville. I didn't really post too much about it. I posted like a little sneaky like oyster photo at dinner. I did post like a Snapchat of me like leaving with my suitcase or whatever, but I was just, I was just not trying to put it out there that I was gone. But ever so slightly, if you caught it at all, I was gone. I was in Nashville. Who was I with? What was I doing? Was I at a bachelorette party? Was I on Broadway shaking ass? Like what was I doing? To be completely honest, and I know this is going to shake up a couple things, but it is what it is. I had flown to go see a man that I have been talking to. As I said, you should probably go catch up so you can be on board with everything that I'm about to talk about. But I talked about going to a wedding and my friend setting me up with, with somebody that she's good friends with and whatever. This is just to give you a little backstory really quick. She is usually his wedding date, couldn't go with him, and basically told me to be in place of her, and we ended up having an amazing time and blah blah blah. Then I continue to speak to him after the fact, actually, and when you look at the situation, how we were put together, like we were kind of thrown in, like, we have to get to know each other. I just looked at the time and it said 11:11. Oh my god. I'll explain in a minute. So anyway, he was taking me to dinner and so that we can get to know each other before we just hop into this wedding together, right? So we just immediately just get put on basically this blind date, and then just had to connect off of our mutual friend and like find something that we can both like converse about, whatever, make it not weird, basically. Okay, so we really had to get to know each other. So after the fact, we start talking again after and whatever. And I was just really like, I've never met a man that was so mature and like really knew what he basically had his life together. So, we were talking, we began to start talking again, whatever, and it kind of got more flirtatious and blah, blah, blah. And he asked me to go to Nashville. He lives there, and I went. What happens when we're in Nashville? I don't want to go over the entire vacation because it's really not about that, but it's about this one conversation that stuck out to me that I feel like is going to be the thing that I feel like a lot of you can relate to. But it is such a unique situation that I'm beginning to kind of dissect myself, because this is the first time I've ever gone through a situation like this. So we had a conversation. We went to this rooftop bar. We were going to go out after dinner, whatever. We decided just to go grab a cocktail, sit at the bar, and converse. Okay, so I want to know your thoughts on bringing up your ex or past relationships on a second or third date. Because technically, we went on the date, we went to the wedding. So this was like technically like our third date, I would say. So, on a third date, like we really had like nothing else to talk about that wasn't just like random small talk, So we got really deep into our past most recent relationship, and I don't really know how it got brought up, but I kind of told him, I said, I think it's really mature, and I'd even argue like very important to be able to talk about our previous relationships together. And especially because I feel that relationships are what shapes us, like, of course, our childhood and the people that raised us and whatever like do shape us, but the relationships that we have as we're maturing, as we're young adults, and the friendships and relationships that we are surrounded by is what ultimately shapes us as the human being that we are, like how we handle certain things, like how what's shaping our behavior, basically, like how we handle our emotions, how we treat others, like our loyalty. The list goes on. And trust me, I agree that this is absolutely a lot to talk about. A lot of these heavy conversations about past relationships, like they should be saved for, right place, right time. I don't think that I think that that's a lot to talk about or throw on to somebody. And I definitely would not do this if this is your second or third date, unless it's a similar situation. But that was the thing too. I can kind of relate our situation to Love is Blind in a way. And for those of you who haven't seen it, it's a Netflix series, but basically you're dating people without being able to see their face. You don't know what they look like. So you're being forced to connect with somebody on an emotional level, strictly on personality and values, and not factoring in the physical. So the situation that we connected through the mutual friend, like We didn't just meet at a club like, hey, I noticed you across the bar. You're hot. Like, let's go home together. Okay, cool. If we vibed, if we liked it enough to do it again, like we go home together, whatever. Then we start hooking up more. We fall deeper into like this physical attraction. And now suddenly we're trying to build an emotional connection off of the physical because we're so into having sex with each other. And like, if you're doing that, typically it's not going to end well. So that is Toxic Relationships 101. But before I continue with the difference between my date with him versus anything else I've experienced and whatever, to be honest, and I know that it's a mutual feeling between the two of us, my ex and I, but my previous relationship was absolutely built off of a physical connection. And I feel like a lot of relationships are built off of physical attraction. People that are on dating apps, what do? Is you swipe right, or, you match with somebody that is attractive before you even meet them, before you even know their personality. That's just the normal thing. And you can't judge a book by its cover. The ugliest people might be the best fucking people on earth. And majority of the times that's how it is. And the hottest people, the hottest guy might have the smallest dick ever. He might have like the weirdest thing. He might be the most narcissistic individual. Like, you never know. And same thing with hot females. Hot females, like, some people would argue, like, a lot of them don't have fucking personalities. You know what I'm saying? Like, we judge so much off of physical attraction before anything else. And with my previous relationship, that's what it was. Okay, so we met each other and we found each other attractive. Then we were starting to flirt with each other. We were tossing these flirtatious remarks, back and forth. But now the wild thing is he never really pressured sex onto me at first. He was very polite for the first time, and I will give him that. But at the same time, I mean, let's not be naive. No guys are going to tell you to come sleep over and I'll blow up an air mattress for you, and you actually follow through with sleeping on that air mattress. Especially if there was a physical a physical attraction that was already being reciprocated. Okay, so we were like knowing that we were attracted to each other, and then he offered me to sleep over one night and whatever. So I was like, okay, polite of you to be like, okay, why are you asking me to sleep over though? But I'm gonna sleep on an air mattress. So regardless of how polite you were, at the same time, back in the day when I first met him, I was like, if I'm sleeping over, I'm staying in your bed, period. Like, what? No. Polite of you, but no. So solely based off of the physical. So after we had sex for the first time, we both enjoyed it. We enjoyed each other's company. I mean, we had fantastic sex, but that was a severely unhealthy excuse to be in a relationship. We were so addicted and attracted to each other, and at the same time, we didn't have the boyfriend and girlfriend title until like 3 months into hooking up with each other. So over that 3-month period, we were only really hooking up every other weekend, maybe every weekend, depending. But, you start to obviously have conversation here and there. Like, obviously, some people just use each other as hookup buddies and yada yada. But in this situation, like, we did like start to have that conversation, maybe not in as depth of what I was speaking about earlier, with the third date and whatever, but we got to know each other. Feelings were developing, but it was still a question of, are we exclusive to each other, or do we only recoup on the weekends and like still do our own thing in between? I don't know. And for how physically attracted I was to him off the bat, like, like, you have your type. If you see somebody that looks exactly like your type, like, fuck yeah, you're like, my panties are wet for you. Like, I don't even know your name. Like, I can't even explain it, you guys. But for a woman, sex is so much more intimate for us, I would argue, and it's a known fact. But when women have sex, like romantic sex, like any positive sexual experience with an emotional feeling tied to it, we begin to grow even stronger feelings for them. And you already know everyone loves a little bit of a challenge and a chase. So I began to think about how I only saw him every other weekend, and if he felt the same way about me, like, does he just want to keep me as a fuck buddy? So I finally worked up the courage one night because it was getting to like the 3-month mark. I knew this was not going to be a fun conversation because he could have just told me that I'm just a side hoe and like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I don't want a relationship with you. Like, get out of here. Like, that very much well could have happened. And honestly, at this point in time, I kind of wish he said that back then. I could have taken the heartbreak toxic at the time and not have gone so fucking deep inside of it. But our whole relationship was based off of a physical connection, and it turned into us trying to build this emotional connection. And he ended up, feeling the same way about me. And he told me he loved me. We got to the point of like going on vacations together. We were just doing everything together. And it began to be this super insane, toxic thing because there was so much control and so much pressure to be a certain way. And like the sex was the thing that tied it to. Like we would fight so bad and then like not speak to each other, like throw threats towards each other, whatever it was. Then we would have makeup sex and it was like, boom, we're in love again. That's so fucked up. And everybody loves the fucking toxic shit. Okay, yeah, it's fun sometimes, but like, holy shit, I'm over it. The guy that I just was in Nashville with was just like a breath of fucking fresh air. And I'll explain more in a minute, but I think a lot of people can relate to this whole sex tied to a relationship. Like it is the most toxic thing. And I think we really need to get out of that physical first. And I really do agree with the whole Love is Blind thing. I can't physically like actually probably do that. Like realistically to really not know, because you do need to be attracted to who you're with. Like it cannot, I'm sorry, but it cannot be solely based off personality. Like straight up, it cannot be. You need to be and have some sort of attraction. I don't care how much money you have. So I personally maybe couldn't do the whole Love is Blind experience like that, like sitting in a pod, not being able to see your face. But I am enjoying this situation that I was kind of put in with this man that is, from my mutual friend. But going back to how this whole sex thing is, this is how I dealt with. And trust me, and I'm sorry to the person that I'm talking to now. If you are listening to this, you probably don't want to hear this. But, the sex that I had with my previous ex was so good. And like I said, we were hanging on to that kind of thing. And even after we broke up, he told me, you're right. The whole relationship was about sex. Because I told him, I was like, you're not admitting to me that like you probably only stayed with me because we have good sex. Like it was fucked up. It was just so fucked up. We would let each other get away with so much because we would just fuck each other afterwards and like be like, okay, we're good. Like that's so fucking toxic. And I thought about it a lot and I was just like, damn. And you think after you have good sex with somebody, you're like, I'm never going to find somebody that's that good again. I'm never going to find somebody that has that big of a dick. I'm never going to find somebody that just fits me literally perfectly like a fucking puzzle. I'm never going to find somebody that knows my body, that can make me come this way, that can make me like whatever. You can. Okay? Think about the first time you ever hooked up with that person. The first time you hook up with really anybody, depending on how it is. I mean, some people are just immediate freaks right off the bat. But if it's like more of an intimate setting or whatever it is, just an average situation, it doesn't really start off that great or perfect. You don't really know each other. You don't really know what you like. You don't really, you're not experienced, or maybe like you don't know what they've been through, what they've done, how they like it, whatever. So that continues to grow and grow and grow as you guys continue to hook up more, as you guys get more comfortable with each other. And especially once you get that full level of comfort, that's when you have the best sex, because you can be on that comfort level of communication of, hey, like, I want to try it this way, or I want to do it that way, or blah, 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 blah. When you're with somebody for so long, that's how me and my ex got to. Like, we were to the point of like, you know me so well, I know you so well, we have fantastic sex, and I don't want to give that up. I don't want to have to start over and do that again. I don't want to have to teach somebody again what I like. Or what if I fucking like somebody and then his dick's small, or he doesn't know how to kiss, or he doesn't know, like, trust me, we all think about that shit. It's hard to get out of a relationship that is like that, because sex is the most, I think I would think it's one of the most important things in a relationship. Absolutely. If the sex is not there, it's not a relationship. Period. Point blank. It is not. So I thought a lot about that. I was thinking those thoughts. I'm sure if you're going through that, those are the thoughts that you're having, and that's completely normal and fine. But you really need to just really think about that. Do you really want to continue dealing with this toxic situation, person, whatever you're going through, just for sex? Like, there's a lot of ways to pleasure yourself. There's podcasts you can listen to about different things, different ways to like be in your feminine energy, masturbate, like do whatever, use a vibrator. Like if you don't know what to get or like what to use, there's blogs that can tell you about all of that stuff. There's other resources for you to kind of like learn to love yourself. And I think it's perfectly okay to masturbate and do your thing. I think it's really important and it grows your connection with yourself even more. And I know this conversation is more towards men and women put together, and this can also go for female and men. But for this, situation for female, you can pleasure yourself for the time being. I think you also doing that is building the connection with yourself, which is way more valuable than staying in that toxic situationship or whatever you're doing. So I started doing that. I started like really appreciating myself more and like giving myself that self-care. And I was just like, no, I don't fucking need you. And I just got so exhausted to the point where like I finally clicked in my head that you're treating me so bad that I'm not even attracted to you anymore. Like you just disappointed me so much to the point where like now I can't even fucking look at you the same. Like I can't even do this anymore. So that's kind of like how I got to that point. And, if you're starting to see those early signs, like just get out now, honestly, just get out now because it's only going to get worse. Now going back to Nashville Boy. Ooh, Nashville Boy. Yay, he has a name. I don't have to make one up. Sorry. Okay, going back to the serious stuff. Nashville Boy. I'm like sitting over here like, fuck, this is a good episode, you guys. Are you guys loving this shit or what? I feel like I'm like preaching right now. Correct me if I'm so excited to listen to this back. Okay, anyways, I'm so fucking weird. Getting back to Nashville Boy, we had to get forced to learn each other. And, I asked him a really, really crazy question. I was asking him deep ass questions because I was like, listen, I'm at the point in my life that if you're going to fuck with me, you're going to fuck with me. Like, I'm going to be myself. And if you like that, awesome. And if you don't, okay, bet. Like, my heart is not hurt. Like, I will find the person that's going to fuck with me. I attract that. I'm so glad that I took the leap of faith to go, like, who just fucking meets somebody once and just goes to another state for somebody? Like, I'm saying that out loud. I processed that. Like, I'm laying in my bed after just landing off a flight. I understand that's pretty fucking wild. Maybe not safe to some of you, but I obviously wouldn't have gone if I thought that it was going to be harming my safety. But he is the absolute epitome of what a man should be and how he should view relationships. And this is just my personal opinion, okay? I don't want this to cause any fucking drama, but my personal opinion. So I'll share something that we spoke about, and I want to know your guys' opinion. So I asked him how he felt about... Ooh, this is going to shake up the feminism. Oh, this is going to shake it up. Okay, I'm excited. So he asked me, or no, I asked him. I said, again, I don't know how this was brought up, but I just be rolling shit off of the top of my noggin. Like, we're going to converse. Okay. I said, how do you feel about how females were back then versus how they are now, and the dynamic of the masculine and feminine energies in relationships? And he was just like, ooh, that's a good question. This is a good conversation. He was kind of explaining, I'm going to butcher this because I don't know it word for word, like, but the gist of what he was saying was basically like, he agrees on how a woman should, be at the house, like taking care of the family, taking care of the house, like making sure everything's good. But also if you have a hobby, if you have something you like doing, if you have like a little side job, if you even have a full-time job, whatever it is, if it's something that's making you happy, as long as you're not sitting on your ass and taking advantage of like the perks of being a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home wife or whatever the case is, and being lazy and whatever else, then that's different. He was like, I want you to have something that you like to do every day and blah, blah, blah. But he was like, I also do agree, or I also disagree. I don't know. I'm not going to say he agreed or disagreed because I don't want to get it wrong. But anyways, he was saying how so many females nowadays are so forced into being in their masculine energy, and how him being a man, he likes to feel like he's the man. Like, he doesn't want to feel like over emasculated. I don't know if I said that right. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. He doesn't want to feel like you're like overdoing him, okay, in his masculinity. So, and I was like, oh my gosh, like you're actually like saying a really good answer. Like, tell me more. But he was just like, I want you to feel like you're the female. I want to take care of you. I want to provide for you. I want you to be able to be that stay-at-home mom. I want you to be able to do whatever. But in return, in favor for that, for me on your end, on the female side, is to just return that favor in the nurturing part. In the, I'm going to just cook you dinner because I want to, because I appreciate you. I'm not just doing it just to get something out of you. Like, I'm going to clean the house for you. Like, do your dry cleaning. I'm going to wash your car. Like, I don't know, just whatever the fuck you want to do, just because you simply love him. And that was just an amazing answer. I completely agree with that. And that would be dope. And not everybody can have that stay at home life and whatever. And, both of you do have to work and bust ass. And like, not everybody can be in that situation. But the people that are fortunate enough to be in that situation, I completely agree with that. I agree with that comment. But here's what I'll counteract. Is I'm a woman that has an entrepreneurial mindset. I need to always be doing something. I personally had told him after he said all of that to me, I said, I'm not somebody that can fully be a stay-at-home mom. Sure, I would love to. I have a kid already. Like I would love to just be home with her all the time, make sure that dinner's made, go to all of her games and do whatever. And I kind of already have that schedule as it is. Like I work during her school day and whatever. So I'm pretty much home with her other than that. But I can't be just sitting at home. Like, yes, my perfect day is to wake up, make breakfast, take the kids to school, go to Pilates, do whatever the fuck during the day, clean the house, do my laundry. I don't know, go out to the lunch with the girls, like whatever the hell. Pick the kids up from school, make dinner, go to the game, do whatever, come home, watch a movie. Like, like that is a perfect day in a perfect world. But, at the same time, also, if I was just like the stay at home person and didn't really have a hobby, because like that's not going to be every day. That's not going to be the everyday thing. And maybe it might be for some people, but realistically, life turns into life. That's not the perfect day every day. So I just don't feel like I would be as fulfilled as just like sitting at home and just being in that lifestyle. So me being like this strong woman and thinking and like whatever, I kind of told him, I'm like, in the previous relationships that I've had, I felt like I had to be so in my masculine energy so much because we all want to fix somebody. When I'm looking at my boyfriend that's like sitting here crying about fucking whatever, it's like, boom, I'm in my masculine energy just off of that, like, or I have to defend myself, or I want to provide too, or whatever. Like I'm just personally not this like damsel in distress, like, take care of me and I'm just gonna fucking do whatever you want. Like, I don't know. I'm going so off on this conversation. I don't even know what I'm trying to say at this point, but I've been forced to be in my masculine energy before, like so many times. And it's been really nice to actually have a weekend of like feeling like, wow, I can be a female. I can like be taken care of or actually communicated with on a level that I want to be communicated to. And with this whole manifestation thing and whatever, like I've been asking God, I've been asking the universe, I've been asking, like I've been telling myself, writing it down, just really wanting a man that communicates and has his own opinion in a respectful way. That's really rare to find just right off the bat. Like it's crazy. I don't know. I'm saying this out loud, like in awe. It's wild. But I'm going on and on and on about this whole masculine energy thing. But I think that was a really cool topic. And I think that's a really cool question to ask somebody, because I feel like that really kind of shows you how a man thinks and how they portray women, because he even got into a thing too. And men, I want to know your opinions, and girls, this is kind of true, but it's sad for females. And men, I don't want you to think that this is like something that we agree with, but it is something that is shown in our society, in our culture, in our hookup culture and whatever. But I'm always so nervous to say my opinion, but whatever. It's my podcast, I guess. Fuck it. I'm literally laying in bed just spitballing, you guys. Okay, so he had said something about how men put these girls in this bracket. You have the wifey and you have I don't want him to like have this fucking scandal. Anyways, I keep going off topic. Okay, you have the wifey and you have just the biddy. Okay, just the girl you're gonna sleep with, whatever. She's just not a wife. You just sleep with her. Like, you literally cannot turn a hoe into a wifey type shit like J. Cole. Like, she don't want to be saved, don't save her. Like, that's literally what he said to me. And I was just like, you're so funny. But it's true. So you, as a female, you need to figure out if you are that hoe that cannot be turned into a wifey, or if you want to be the wifey. Like, if you're cool with just being that hoe, then okay, cool. Jump at people for physical attraction. Don't even care about building the emotional attraction. If you turn into a toxic relationship, then fuck it. You're having fun. That's what you want. Moral of the story, fine. But if you want to be this wifey, if you want to be this like person that's going to find this committed relationship that actually knows what they want a family, something amazing and better for yourself, and getting out of that toxic shit, then try to build something off of like an emotional thing. Like, ask those hard questions first and foremost. Don't go so far deep into all of these dates and whatever, and weeks go by and blah blah blah, and you're really not really getting to know each other, and now it's like a month in and you don't really know anything about them. Like, no, I think if you're trying to find somebody that you want to build with, if that you want to commit to, or just start vibing with, or you can like feel that feeling like, ooh, maybe this might go somewhere, then ask those hard questions right away. Because like I said, if they're going to fuck with you, they're going to fuck with you. If they're going to like you, they're going to continue on based off of you being yourself and you just doing that. And you'll know exactly how they are, how they think, how they handle themselves based off of those hard questions. So those are a couple questions that you can take and ask your person that you go on a date with. But at the end of the day, if they answer in a way that you don't really like, or if they don't really fuck with how you're handling yourself, or if they don't really like that you're pushing these questions onto them, and they're not like being understanding or on the same page as you, then move on. What is the point? So depending on what little area of life you're in, navigate that how you will. But I think it's really important, and I'm glad that happened, because like I said, I've never been in a situation like that to where it's just been built off of this emotional connection just right off the bat. And now it's like, yes, we're building a physical at the same time. I'm navigating it still. I wouldn't say like it's a relation, it's not a relationship. It's only been the third date, but it's like moving in a really positive direction. And if it continues to grow and build, I feel like this can be one of the strongest relationships that I've ever had. And I'm really excited about that, even though I've said in so many of my past episodes that I'm not ready for a relationship. But fuck, when the universe is ready for you, it just is what it is. But, you got to roll with it. See how it plays out. Live by faith. Do your thing. I encourage you to ask these hard questions if you're dating people and you just can't seem to find somebody, or, you're only going based off of what your type is. Find somebody out of your usual type. Maybe you will get lucky. The most amazing people that you're going to connect with are going to be probably outside of your comfort zone. I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone too. I'm loving it though. I'm loving it. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm so happy that I got to like say all of this to you guys. And Nashville boy, if you're listening to this, I hope you still fuck with me after all of this. I'm kidding. Well, yeah, I'm not kidding. I really do. But I know we talked about it and it's fine. The thing is he was like, I need you to just record your content how you normally do. Like, don't record it a certain way because I'm listening. And I was just like, okay, bet. Cool. I'm glad you're encouraging me to be myself and to just do this damn thing and fucking, I mean, we're all adults, dude. Like, we all have like been with people. This is a really quick off-point tangent point. This episode's getting way too fucking long. I'm so sorry, but I cannot stand people because my fucking best friend went through this shit. I don't understand people that are like, oh my God, you were with somebody before me. Like, how dare you? Like, what? Depending on what age you are, like I hope my age range listening to this is like in my age range or older. So the people that you've been with before and you meet somebody and they're like, oh my God, you've been with somebody before me. Like, oh fuck, now I can't be with you. Like, dude, grow up. We're all old enough. We've all had sex with somebody else before. Just be mature about it. We don't need to like talk about it all the time. but I think it is healthy that we do discuss it here and there, or even just getting to know each other, whatever. And if you can't handle it, then what the fuck? Don't be a pussy. Don't be an asshole. Just grow up. I just had to say that really quick because that fucking pissed me off when I heard that. But this episode's getting way too long. I hope I touched on all the points that I wanted to every single goddamn episode. My brain goes all over the place, but I take pride in the brain that I have because it comes up with some dope shit sometimes and I surprise myself. So I'm excited to listen to this episode myself and like relearn everything that I'm experiencing. And I hope that this has helped you and has guided you in whatever you're going through. And I continue to promise y'all worthy content every week. I'm getting sentimental as fuck right now. Yeah, I'm just happy and have loved all of the positive feedback. And if you are new here and this is the first episode, please go listen to the rest of them and all of this will make sense to you. And I hope you guys continue to come back every week and continue to grow with me and continue to listen to the stories and get the advice from me. And I know I don't know completely what I'm talking about. I feel like I have some really positive insight, and yeah, I'm glad for the people that have been coming back and listening every week. So I fuck with you guys, and I'm happy that you guys are fucking with me too. So XOXO, you already know the drill. Stay positive, love yourself, enjoy life as it comes, and stop yelling. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.